Yo, 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 what's that word, Trap Squad? Today we got us another video. Look, now I told you I would try to be every day with it. Yesterday I dropped because I woke up a little late. I went live though. So look, NBA Youngboy facing 250 years after impersonating elderly woman to get lean. Now I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I seen this on the ground. Not like seen the video, but I seen that he got arrested and shit. Of course, it's NBA Youngboy. You gotta keep it 100. Motherfucker, that shit gonna spread quicker than coronavirus spread. Shit. Fuck you talking about. So, shit. Without further ado, let's get into it.
But for a popular rapper is facing over 60
and this 1090
charges
J
after he was arrested in Cache County.
NBA Youngboy was arrested this week at his Mill Creek home in what the Cache County Sheriff's Office is calling an ongoing investigation into criminal conduct.
We are learning new details about why young rapper NBA Youngboy was arrested in Utah yesterday.
The rapper, whose real name is Kentrell Deshaun Golden, was under house arrest.
This the only nigga y'all gonna see with a fucking shovel tatted on his face.
As he awaited trial on federal gun charges. Several agencies, including the FBI and Secret Service, executed a search warrant yesterday morning.
September 19th,
Did I do it right?
2023. Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram, Utah, received a prescription called in for a 74-year-old woman named Bethel White. The physician who called provided the proper identification, but the number he called from wasn't from his pharmacy. A phone call to the suspected pharmacy would confirm suspicions. The pharmacist didn't have a patient named Bethel White, he never called in a prescription, and apparently someone's made several orders using his name that day. The prescription was for an antibiotic, as well as promethazine with codeine, a Schedule 5
Boy was trying to get high,
and one of the most abused and sought after drugs in hip-hop. The antibiotic was most likely just to make the prescription less of a red flag. Law enforcement would wait in the parking lot of Reed's Pharmacy waiting for someone to pick up the order, but nobody came. That same day, Spencer's Pharmacy in Logan, Utah received a call from the same suspect using the same physician's information. This time, 71-year-old Gwendolyn Cox needed promethazine with codeine. 2 weeks after the prescription was called in, a female came and picked it up, stating Gwendolyn was her grandmother. The following month, Spencer's Pharmacy received a second call requesting more lean for grandma.
You know what's crazy too? However he got this information and shit, if it's legit information and he don't sound like he on like no fishy shit, he could really do that. Like, this is my grandmama shit. You feel me? She told me if I could come just pick this up for her. She a little old. She can't come on her own. I gotta come for her. You feel me? You ain't slick, young boy.
Spencer's obviously realized the 71-year-old didn't just drink a whole bottle of syrup in less than 3 weeks. So this time they requested a hard copy of the prescription.
This nigga went back 3 weeks later to re-up on a whole nother pint. Bro, that old lady did not drink that much. Like bro just said, like, that's common sense. You think she, an old lady, is drinking a whole pint 3 weeks? How long is legal codeine supposed to last? A whole pint? I don't know. I can't find that shit, but I know that shit ain't supposed to be gone in no month.
With the patient,
you barely supposed to pull it up when you drink it.
The phone hung up the call. Spencer's Pharmacy attempted to call
like the right way type shit
back after looking up the physician's name, only to make contact with the real physician, finding out someone's been fraudulently using his credentials. On January 17th, 2024, a fraudulent prescription was called into Larry's Pharmacy in Smithfield, Utah. It was the same deal. Another elderly woman wanted lean, and when things looked suspicious, the pharmacy called the police.
Right.
An agent assigned to the Cash-Rich Drug Task Force would conduct the initial investigation. You
know what makes this 10 times worse? This nigga went to the same pharmacy. You telling me You got this prescription from 2 different people, the same prescription for 2 different people, but you went to the same fucking pharmacy. Young boy, you gotta be smarter than this, my brother. You be tripping, cause bruh, ain't no way in hell. First of all, you supposed to, you got rid of 1 whole pint in 3 weeks, right? So then you go back, right, with another prescription is what I'm getting from this, under someone else's name, at the same pharmacy. Like, my nigga, you gotta be smarter than that, Brody. No cap.
Under the cash-rich drug task force would conduct the initial investigation. Obvious similarities between the reports from the different pharmacies would lead officers to devise a plan. Contact would be made, and 2 females would arrive at Larry's pharmacy to pick up the prescription. They'd be detained, and officers would smell a strong odor of marijuana coming from the Chevy Tahoe they drove in.
I bet you they snitch.
The females
I bet you they rat.
the search, marijuana flakes would be found around the interior, along with an empty handgun case for a .45 caliber 1911. They'd claim the marijuana wasn't theirs, and they were picking up a prescription for a friend that they refused to name. The 2 women would later be arrested for their role in the prescription fraud ring, and officers would discuss.
But to be honest, why didn't they just say nothing? Boy, look, if they would have just said nothing, it would have been 10 times harder for them. Unless they just did the math, you know, the quadramatic formula. If they just they use the quadramatic formula, they'll see. I mean, we just had some other suspicious activity with another lady for the same drug. That's the only way I could see. Like, bro, why didn't y'all just not say nothing? Y'all could have just said, "Officer, I plead the 5th. I don't want to answer any of your questions."
Discovered the Chevy Tahoe they were riding in was registered out of Texas under a 24-year-old man named Kentrell Golden. Kentrell would be more commonly known.
They was lit when they heard that.
NBA Youngboy.
Lit.
One of the task force agents would be contacted
and bro on house arrest. That's fucked up.
That none other than Gwendolyn Cox needed to speak with him. During the conversation, she'd state her last name was White instead of Cox, and she'd give her birth month and date, but couldn't provide the age and wouldn't provide her address. It was very clear to the agent that Gwendolyn was using a fake voice, as this old woman sounded like a much younger male from the South. She, or he, made a statement saying, "Well, I asked her to, and she said that she'll have you call me." The terminology ax instead of ask was a dead giveaway and consistent with a southern dialect from states.
No cap. He probably, what he finna say?
States like Texas, Georgia, and Louisiana.
Shit, in Florida too, man. I had to ask bro to do this. Nah, I'm gonna ask not. I'm gonna ask you a favor. I can ask you a favor. I don't know. It's like that should have just like, I ain't gonna cat. That should have just slip out. Everybody's like, I can ask you to do this for me. You feel me? Like, I'm just saying, like, you gotta be proper, and then you a whole male playing a female voice, gang, right? You playing a whole female voice. You don't think you gonna slip up not one time? Cause I mean, I know I couldn't do it. I'm gonna slip the fuck up. Why he didn't get an actual lady to do it and just holding up her voice? I don't know how to even say it. You feel me?
Following day, a person who self-identified as NBA Youngboy's business manager attempted to contact the drug task force in an effort to get the Chevy Tahoe out of the impound. During this time, the impound company suspected the vehicle may be stolen after speaking with the so-called manager, so the task force officer requested to speak directly with Youngboy. On a conference call being recorded by dispatch, Youngboy told the task force agent the females arrested at the pharmacy were family. The agent would ask about his relations to the female and if they had his permission to drive his vehicle, to which Youngboy said they did have his permission, and he asked for his vehicle back.
I'm more of a plain Jane type of nigga though.
Youngboy how to get his vehicle back, and the conversation would continue when Youngboy said, ask him about the prescription that they picked up.
Ask him.
He paused for a few seconds before saying, she on the fucking hospital bed. She on the hospital bed. The agent was aware Youngboy was speaking to someone else who claimed to be Youngboy's brother. The call would break up and go silent for durations of time, leading the agent to believe they were muting the call. Because Youngboy was speaking about prescriptions without being asked, showed he had knowledge
they can't prove
of
it
the
though.
fraudulent prescription the females attempted to pick up.
From what I know,
it would also prove intent, as Youngboy attempted to further the prescription fraud by stating, she's on a hospital bed.
That is real.
To a fake patient. Youngboy would also slip up,
that's fucked up,
using the word ax instead of ask, the same way the fake patient Gwendolyn did on the phone. And at this point, it would appear obvious NBA Youngboy was pretending to be a 71-year-old woman in an attempt to get lean. The drug task force would speak with the physician whose name was being fraudulently used, and a report for how many prescriptions were successfully picked up would be made. Ann White, Beatrice White, Caroline White, Gwendolyn White, Alice White, Francine White, Francine Taylor, and Gwendolyn Cox were all fake elderly women whose names were used to pick up different amounts of codeine, sometimes repeatedly. Surprisingly, NBA Youngboy's own name, Cantrell Gaulden, will be used with a birth year of 1953 to pick up a 7-day supply of codeine. A juvenile would be apprehended.
So he used his birthday and changed the year. Nigga, 2 + 2 = 4. Bro, why did you think that made sense? You think because you just switched up the year that you could just be, oh, it was a coincidence. Just like the coincidence how we both say axe. What, bro? My nigga. I ain't gonna lie. This right here is just blowing me. I would think Youngboy's smarter than this. But I mean, not really. Bro ass. It's like be tripping. But to really think you gonna get off with this, bro, and the way you doing it, you're not even doing it slick. You just trying to rush it to get your shit.
Cantrell Gaulden will be used with a birth year of 1953 to pick up a 7-day supply of codeine. A juvenile would be apprehended at the pharmacy after attempting to pick it up. Additional calls were made using Youngboy's real name and real birth date by someone in Houston, Texas. It was discovered the same white Tahoe registered in Texas that the females were arrested in could be seen in one of Youngboy's music videos. Further investigation into Youngboy was conducted after he was identified as the primary suspect. Rising from the trenches of Baton Rouge, Youngboy is documented to have lived in Louisiana, Texas, Georgia, California, and Utah. He's also currently on federal pretrial probation.
That's the Youngboy I came up on, no cap.
A federal gun charge for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The rap star's criminal history is not only extensive, but violent. Back in 2016, Youngboy was arrested on 2 charges of murder in Louisiana as a juvenile. The charges were eventually reduced, and Youngboy
this like 2018, this like 2019, Youngboy.
While his second charge of attempted murder was dropped entirely. This conviction alone would make him a convicted felon. In 2018, he'd be arrested for aggravated assault and kidnapping, with the kidnapping later being dismissed. Youngboy would plead guilty to a lesser charge of simple battery, resulting in a misdemeanor conviction and 12 months of probation. In 2019, Youngboy would be arrested for marijuana in Georgia, and in 2020, he'd be arrested in Louisiana for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
Imagine getting locked up for some gas.
Possession of a controlled substance.
That's fucked up.
Illegally carrying a weapon, illegal possession of a stolen firearm, and possession of a controlled substance. In 2021, the feds would indict Youngboy for his Louisiana gun charge, and 3 years later, he'd still be on pretrial release. Youngboy has been identified by the FBI as the leader of the NBA street gang. The gang itself is a group of Youngboy's associates that have been classified as a gang because of their structure, affiliation, and violent behavior. Youngboy's music is heavily influenced by that behavior, as he is consistently rapping about shooting and killing people, using drugs, and having a strong dislike for law enforcement. The rap star currently resides in Huntsville, Utah, within a multi-million-dollar mansion he's named Gravedigger Mountain. With an ankle monitor, Youngboy needs approval to leave his home for any reason, to the point that it doesn't even matter if it's a doctor's appointment. All guests that enter Gravedigger Mountain also have to be approved by his federal probation before entering the property. The same suspects that would be caught up attempting to pick up fraudulent prescriptions were all on Youngboy's visiting list. On April 16, 2024, a search warrant was executed on Gravedigger Mountain. Everyone within the mansion was detained, including Youngboy, and after being read his rights, he agreed to an interview. Youngboy was asked about the presence of firearms inside of the home. He said a gun belonging to his wife was inside, and Youngboy was asked if he ever handled the gun or if his DNA would be found on the gun. He denied that his DNA would be found, but stated 2 days earlier he had picked the gun up and moved it from an open area, placing it inside of a drawer. He'd claimed that was the only time he touched the gun, further stating his wife always has the gun within reach throughout the house. Youngboy was asked about prescription drugs in his house, and he'd state he has a prescription for promethazine. He provided the doctor's name who prescribed it and said he was local. When asked if he had any doctors in Texas, he'd say no, and continued to deny having been prescribed drugs from any other doctor. When asked about his associates picking up fraudulent prescriptions, he claimed to have no knowledge of their activities. He confirmed his association with 3 of them, and when confronted about the call with the agent, he stated he didn't remember, making suggestions the agent likely spoke with his dad. But the agent would note Youngboy has a very distinct voice, and that it was in fact him on the call, as the agent later spoke with Youngboy's dad and could tell it wasn't him.
No cap. Nigga, I can hop on a call with Youngboy and know it's Youngboy without knowing it's Youngboy. Be real. You feel me? Be real. Like, nigga. Like he said, real distinctive. And then you trying to play as a female. Think you not finna slip up. When you already be talking aggressive as hell. He had to put that real soft voice on. And then femalize the voice. Like, what the fuck?
Youngboy was interviewed further.
You should have knew he was gonna get caught up.
Deceptive and deny knowledge of anything illegal. During the search, law enforcement found a prescription bottle inside Youngboy's bathroom within the master bedroom. The bottle was prescribed to Caroline White, one of the fraudulent names. An antibiotic would be found within Youngboy's name, but with the birth date from 1955.
They caught you.
Another bottle of promethazine would be found without a label.
That was probably the other White. As soon as they found the Carolyn White, whatever it was raps.
A handgun Youngboy admitted of possessing would be found within the master bedroom closet with an empty magazine and 1 round loaded in the chamber. 3 more bottles of promethazine
What's
would
the
be
point
found
of that?
inside of the home, and all electronics was seized. NBA Youngboy would be placed under arrest and charged with possession of a weapon by seized. NBA Youngboy would be placed under arrest and charged with possession of a weapon by a restricted person, pattern of unlawful activity, 20 counts of identity fraud, 20 counts of procuring or attempting to procure a drug prescription, 20 counts of forgery, and possession of a controlled substance being marijuana or spice. Now, while it sounds like Youngboy
You smoking
clearly
spice,
has a
bros?
drug problem and was using his team to obtain them, how
Don't tell me you smoking
serious are
spice.
his actual charges? For possessing the weapon and the pattern of unlawful activity, he faces up to 15 years each. Both fraud and forgery carry up to 5 years in prison, while trying to get a prescription carries up to a year. Because he faces 62 charges, NBA Youngboy is facing, at maximum, a total of 250 years. But it's highly unlikely he'd receive that sentence,
Yeah, facts.
as that's the max punishment on every count. What is likely to happen is the feds will indict Youngboy again for being a felon in possession of a firearm, the same way they did after his arrest in Louisiana. If this happens, we can expect his pretrial release to be gone and Youngboy to be kept in a federal facility until both federal cases come to an end.
And that's gonna
The
take
fact
some
that he admitted
years.
he moved the gun
Exactly.
is an admission of guilt, which his lawyer will have to fight to get that statement thrown out. On top of that, the gun was found loaded in his bedroom closet, meaning while he may not have physically possessed it, even though he said he did, he could still be charged with constructive possession for the simple fact that he had access to it. Obviously, being placed on house arrest for years is damaging to one's mental health, and a drug addiction can blur one's mind. But we'll just have to wait and see if Youngboy's legal team is able to find sympathy while prosecutors seek punishment and a judge weighs out justice.
Oh shit, that's it. Damn, 10-eyed Jake. I'm gonna like that. Shit. I ain't gonna lie, Youngboy. That was some crazy shit, bruh. You feel me? Like, you can't be doing that. And then, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was just like flabbergasted. Why would you admit to touching the gun, bro? Why are you admitting to touching a gun that you're not even supposed to have in your house, around you? Nah, for real. You feel me? Like, he could have said, once they say, oh, any weapon or the weapon they found, hey, I ain't know about that. You know? I ain't know about that. He didn't have to really say much. If really he didn't have to say nothing at all. Like, they still found the shit in his room with the name on it, with the fucking name on it. So, given that, he should just stayed quiet, because now they looking like, well, you lied. So, you feel me? Now, if you would have just shut up, you would have never lied. And you maybe could have, maybe they would have been a little more lenient, just a little bit. I would hope. You feel me? But hey, Track Squad, well, yeah, I'm out.